Alrighty, fans, we're back. Got a few more things to talk about today, including some UT athletics. Vols tennis team still in the NCAA tournament.
They advanced to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tennis tournament this weekend. The Lady Vols won the SEC softball championships.
Which will put them in the women's softball.
They'll be a #1 seed in the women's softball tournament. They'll host their own super regional.
In fact, they were playing on TV when Luke and I were at Raider Robin the other day. We got to watch a little bit of it.
Indeed, yes.
Men's basketball, we got another commitment.
He's foreign.
His name's Yemi something.
He's Nigerian, so
He's
it's got like
Nigerian.
17 consonants in a row. Not even going to try to butcher that one.
It may be good. There's so many varying reports on the guy right now. We really need post players. He's a post player. But some reports are that he's 6'7" and 200 pounds, and that's probably not going to cut it in the SEC. But some reports are that he's 6'10" and 240 pounds. And that should be fine. But he's not played basketball for very long yet. He just came over. He was a soccer player in Nigeria. Came over and played for Oak Hill Academy, which is just a legendary prep school.
In fact, Bearden played them this year in basketball and got just hammered.
They always have 7 or 8 Division I players. He transferred from there to Word of God Academy in North Carolina, which that's where John Wall played. And he was a backup to their Division I prospect center. And the guy got hurt, and Tennessee was watching. Martin and his staff was watching him at a tournament. The guy got hurt. This Yemi guy comes in and 20 points, 14, 15 rebounds a game. So they offer him.
It definitely. I don't think he'll hurt us.
I mean, it can't do it, but we essentially have Jerome Mayman and Kenny Hall in the post. Some people say Woolridge may be a post player because he's 6'8", but he's never really shown the inkling to want to play post.
Really shown that much of an inkling that he wanted to play basketball.
Now, I'll say this, Woolridge, they're trying to get a red shirt here for him, and he's wanting to stay 2 more years at Tennessee if he can get it, because he only played 70 minutes total last season.
He was just a non-factor last year.
He's really a great athlete. His dad was a great player. 4-star recruit coming out of high school. He's got size. He can shoot the ball. He had 20 points in that win we had against Kansas. It's just he doesn't take basketball seriously all the time. He's vowed to take basketball seriously now.
Maybe Conzo Martin's what he needed.
So we'll see.
Maybe Conzo won't put up with his, swiper boy career.
He had potential. He has a potential. He's got the body. You're 6'9" or 6'10" and as athletic as he is. You do what you can. Try to get to the NBA. His dad played in the NBA, so he's already well off.
Right.
So he's probably not as motivated as some other kids would be.
But would it not be great if he could step up this year? With Hobson gone,
we desperately need him.
With Tobias Harris gone,
we're going to be in bad shape. If any of these freshmen, hopefully some of them can work out. None of them are very heralded like we thought we were going to get because our heralded signees. One, Kevin Ware decided to commit somewhere else, and Chris Jones, he just didn't make it academically, so he's going to junior college. And that's pretty tough to take because Jones was a top 30 prospect and really our best signee. But we'll see what these new guys can get us. Bringing in people to fill the bill right now. So
like I said, we're going to have to be patient with men's basketball for a while.
Technically you would think that we would have a roster good enough to compete because we still bring back 5 or 6 guys that were 4-star players in high school that were thought of being very good. And some are unproven because, Tobias Harris, Scotty Hobson, they've got the shots. Melvin Goins, they played the minutes. They were, with the exception of Harris, upperclassmen who just took the minutes. So we'll see if these guys Tatum needs to really step up. He's a senior this year.
He does. Trey Golden.
He's shown flashes. Golden was a highly regarded point guard, 4-star point guard from Rivals. We'll see if he does better this year. McRae, he didn't even get to play this year essentially. He's 6'6". Harold is a great shooter, also a really high top 40 player in the country coming out of high school. So, sure we lost a ton of scoring, but somebody's going to take the shots now because now the shots will be there to take. So hopefully we can still be decent. And if Bruce Pearl was still coaching this team, I think we'd probably make the NCAA tournament.
You're right. Of course, we also Probably still have Tobias Harris and Scotty Hobson.
Maybe,
We'd have Scotty Hobson,
but
I'd rather have Tobias Harris.
regardless, Pearl showed like with his first team of people. You know, people have been talking about this week that this team is on some sports message where this team's decimated, and Pearl had it a lot better coming back. And I'm like, do you remember what was here when Pearl came in? I mean, everybody hated Dane Bradshaw. I mean, nobody. He was a point guard that couldn't shoot or pass the ball.
You're absolutely right.
Everybody thought, well, God, he's a wasted scholarship. Juwan Smith, he was a walk-on that nobody knew anything. He played 8 minutes a game. You know, Pearl made those guys into stars. C.J. Watson was a solid player when Pearl got here, and Chris Lofton, he was a good shooter. Nothing else was known about him, really. Otherwise, we had Major Wingate, the underachieving big man who never took basketball seriously. This is the thing about Major Wingate. When he was in the 9th grade, he was actually ranked the #1 prospect in the country. You know who was also in that class with him? LeBron James.
Wow.
LeBron James was 2. But Major Wingate, he was always known for losing focus throughout high school on playing basketball. And he showed the same thing at Tennessee, and eventually, of course, got kicked off the team. But, you know, Pearl didn't have that much to work with when he got here either, by all appearances. So, you know, you can say that Conzo Martin doesn't have that much to work with, but honestly, on paper, he's got a lot of really great athletes and heralded recruits. And it's not like the SEC's known generally for being a basketball power outside of Kentucky and Florida.
That's
You
true.
usually have the entire West being terrible. Alabama might be good next year, but most of the West is usually pretty bad.
In the West, you usually either have Alabama or Mississippi State maybe do something.
I mean, Vanderbilt, they're middle of the road usually. Georgia, up and down a little bit. South Carolina's usually kind of bad. So I think we should still do okay. You know, if Martin can get the guys to come up to the potential they've obviously showed everybody in high school.
Speaking of Melvin Goins, he has parted ways with the football team. It just wasn't for him.
You know, the reason that great athletes like Melvin play basketball a lot of times is because they don't like contact.
Right. And
So I'm going to assume that he probably didn't like the contact all that much.
And playing safety is a really physical position. But, you know, at least he gave it a shot.
I figure Melvin can probably make it. He can probably make money playing basketball in Europe or somewhere. You know. Nothing else. You get to live in some foreign location. You know, Italy, Turkey.
It's not a bad deal usually.
Yeah, you might even make 6 figures if you're pretty good at it.
I mean, if you want to, and this is football. If you want to kind of get the experience, go read John Grisham's Playing for Pizza. It's actually a really entertaining, light read about a man playing football in a foreign land.
You know, you never really think of that they even have football, honestly. Obviously, they don't even. You remember what they called it in the book? I don't think it was football.
It wasn't football.
Because football, of course, is soccer anywhere you get outside of the U.S. Because they're kind of all communists out there.
A little commie kickball.
You too.
What, no good?
No, no good.
I mean,
I said we were going to make fun of people this time.
the Chi-Coms love it in soccer.
You guys are terrible.
Yeah, we are.
Seems reasonable to me.
You know, on a couple other fronts, NFL's still locked out. Not sure what's going to happen there.
I can't imagine they won't get it resolved. And it's been over 20 years since you had a strike-shortened season. It's just so much revenue these days gets lost.
Especially now, those TV contracts are
It's just gigantic. $10 billion or something along those lines.
You know, the strike hurt baseball.
the strike did hurt.
I mean,
Major
the
League
that
Baseball.
strike just basically baseball.
I mean,
And so I can't imagine if they held this over any length into when the season is supposed to start. I just can't imagine. I mean, it just hurt. I think football.
you know,
The NFL is a
strikes are never good for business because honestly, most of the general public sees it as a bunch of millionaires crying that they're not getting enough from a bunch of billionaires. Nobody has a lot of sympathy for either side of it.
Right.
On another subject I want to touch on. Yeah, I've been hearing on Facebook, Twitter, social media, Really, everybody's cheering for Memphis to beat Oklahoma City in basketball. I didn't know either of those cities had NBA franchises.
Memphis has been around for quite a while now, probably 15 years or so, and Oklahoma City moved from Seattle a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Go Memphis team.
Sure.
I don't care for Memphis at all, so I would rather be in Mississippi. So go Oklahoma City.
The Predators bowed out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You know, I do know we have a hockey team in Nashville.
Yes.
And you know what? I like to watch hockey. It's entertaining. It's a lot more entertaining live than it is on TV.
Sure.
But I want to encourage, if any of you are ever in the Nashville area during hockey season, catch a Predators game. It's actually worth the money.
I recommend going over and catching a couple of Ice Bear games.
Yeah.
During their season. Pat and I took in a game or so this season. Just it's entertaining and really it's not.
It's cheap.
It's not that expensive for
It's
an evening.
relatively family friendly, and by the same token, Smokies baseballs
Right.
going on. It's also relatively cheap, relatively family friendly. I mean, yeah, they'll serve some beer there, but it's tough to find a sporting event they don't do that at anymore.
Outside of college, especially.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. The NBA is also talking about having a lockout too, so I'm not really sure where Tobias Harris. He should be a first-round draft pick, maybe even a lottery pick, but most likely a first-round pick. That'll help Tennessee. I'm not thinking Scotty Hobson's person. I don't think he'll get drafted at all.
No,
It
Hobson
would be a surprise.
will be playing in Europe.
The more NBA players we can have, the better. So I would love to have had Harris back for another year, but I can understand him leaving. So, good luck to him. Hopefully he gets drafted. Hopefully we can watch him play for years.
I would love to see Tobias Harris as a force in
Watch
the
the
NBA.
Bulls sometime. C.J. Watson, he plays for the Bulls. The Bulls are in the Eastern Conference Finals against Miami now. So, he may be the first Tennessee player, I guess since Dale Ellis that I can remember that actually made it to the conference championship games so they can beat the Bulls. Or I mean, not the conference, the NBA championship series so they can beat the Bulls.
So that should be interesting and worth checking out. I mean, I like to see old Vols do well. I mean, not just Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. I mean, I try to keep up with all of them.
I mean,
I enjoy hearing Arian Foster doing well.
the better every one of them does, the better it looks for your program and the future recruits. You can say, look, we had Arian Foster here a few years ago. Now he led the NFL in rushing last year.
Of course, Jason Witten at Dallas. Of course, I like to see Dallas win because
I like that.
we're Dallas fans. Luke may not be, but Jason Witten had a great career at Tennessee. He's had a good career at Dallas. In baseball, of course, we got Todd Helton and
we got a few other people.
Bubba Trammell played for. I don't know if he's still playing or not.
R.A. Dickey was pitching for the Mets recently.
Right. So UT's definitely got its share.
The better they do at the next level,
The better
they
we
do
recruit.
in recruiting. And basketball has been the biggest area where we've needed this the most because, frankly, that's why John Calipari gets all the players he gets. It has nothing to do with his ability to recruit or whatever school he's at. He just he's got the connection with World Wide West and Nike. He keeps these players for a year that are going to be, if it weren't for the one and done rule, these players would be going straight to the NBA anyway.
Right.
So now he gets them, they go to the NBA where they would have went anyway, and suddenly he looks like a genius for doing it. Now Brandon Knight this year is probably going to be a lottery pick again. So that'll be probably the top point guard picked 4 or 5 years in a row from Cal's program.
You're absolutely right.
But it's players that would have been that pick anyway, but he gets credited as a genius because he's sending them to the NBA. If we can start sending players to the NBA, that'd be big for us.
Well, fans, we're going to close it out here. We'll be back next week on Sports Chat. We'll see you next time.